Power System Masterplan, driving your youth empowerment. And for that panel, we have Mr. Zana Crispin, sir. Yes, we have Mr. Zana Crispin from African Union Commission. Please, sir, if you can take the floor. And we have Mr. Karen Carl Atonde from Ivy Benin. You can take the floor. And we have Mrs. Annette Luta from Ivy Togo. Okay, thank you very much for being there. So we will start with Mr. Crispin. We will have a presentation about the renewable energy from Auda NEPAD. You can, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure for this quick arrangement that we present to you the Continental Power System Master Plan and how the renewables are looking in future. If I can be given a slot, I would like to present. So if I can, we can change.
Yes.
And also, I think everyone wants to see. For the time being, while I'm presenting, we can all go and sit down there so that at least we don't miss. So, I'm sure this is the first time most of you are hearing about the Continental Power System Master Plan. Which I would like to explain what happened in the past so that when you take this forward, you understand where we are coming from. So bear with me. I'll be a bit slow. I'm told that if I press the button, it will. Good. I'm sure you are aware that in Africa, we are the least electrified continent. When you look at the graphics on the screen, you will notice that most of our people are still without access to electricity. Over 600 million out of 1.4 billion is quite a significant number. It means out of 10 people, 4 of us will not have access to electricity. And when you look at the GDP in Africa is still very low, at 12,263. And the electricity consumption, the average of the world is at 3,000. Where are we? We are only at less than 200 kilowatt hour per year. This is sad when you look at the African continent as it is. Why? Because electricity is an influence for the GDP to grow. When you look at our continent, the red lines show where we already have interconnections, and the most of Africa is not yet interconnected. Very limited interconnections means also very little electricity. There are many countries who are having load shedding, which can be more than half a day, which can be more than a day for some countries. So the African Union decided to say, let's have maybe a strategy of interconnecting all the countries. Why? Because as we are having shortage in some countries, we have countries we have too much electricity. For example, I don't know if we have anyone from Angola here. Yeah? Angola is having too much electricity, while neighboring countries like South Africa, Zimbabwe are suffering load shedding. So the African Union decided to have what they call the African Single Electricity Market, where the connections will be from south to north. The connections will also be from west to east, interconnecting each and every country. Please come and join us. Okay. This then was led to the African energy ministers to say, okay, in order to have a continental power, in order to have an African single electricity market, we have to start designing where we put the power lines, where we put the generation. And that we find now that since 2018, 2019, after that decision was done, there was a deliberate effort to come up with a plan, which was then led by the African Union Development Agency, together with the African Union Commission, African Development Bank, and UNECA, the power pools, and with the support from the EU and other development partners, we saw a continental power system master plan being addressed. And this design will lead the African electricity to reach now the goals we have with the single, what we call the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, and also the infrastructure development. Just in a snapshot of where we stand with the policy paper was done in February 2021, and then in June we found out the heads of state, the heads of state in February 2021 agreed to say, let's go ahead. And in June, the minister said, yes, let's launch now the Continental Power System Master Plan, whereby we found out that from 2021 to now, the Continental Power System Master Plan is on board. And we are looking at now structuring it into making projects which can be implemented. And then by 2040, we want to see the continent on one grid. Let me show you the power systems, how they look like. When you look at this graph, you will see that at the present moment, we only have 263 gigawatts of power, the whole continent. It's sad. This type of power, some of the nations in developed countries, it's for one country. But lucky enough, this power systems has been designed. What are we looking at? We are looking at having 1,200 gigawatts of power flowing by 2040. And what does that mean? It means we can trade power between the 5 regions. From the south, we have the Southern African Power Pool. In the center, we have the Central African Power Pool. We have on the east, the Eastern Power Pool. In the west, we have the Western African Power Pool, and the north, the Comelec. And the figures which are given there are in terawatt hour, what can be traded by 2040 when we have our continent. I want to just highlight one of the aspects that still the INGA remains at the center of this Continental Power System Master Plan. In as much as it has been delayed, but we're still pushing. Right now, there is now a negotiation to have an intergovernmental MOU between the member states which are going to be working on the power lines. And Auda NEPAD is supporting to do a high-level analysis of how the power system can be linked to the INGA when it goes online. This will then help to trade power throughout the continent. And we're looking at how much when the trade is being done, 136 billion per annum. It's a significant amount of money. It's the money that we need, but if we don't trade, we are not going anywhere. Just to give you some synopsis of how the trade will be, the investment will look like, if we go for what we call a full regional power connections, full continental, it is cheaper than just to remain with our interconnections at the region. That's the given with the yellow. You can see the yellow line, which shows that this is how we would compare if we do our connections the usual way we have been doing. But if we go for a continental, we will reduce the investment cost. Right, let me try to speed up. Emissions. One of the good news is emissions using this are going to go down. Why? Because we have a lot of renewables which have been considered for this system. So that's where I want to lead you now to where do we have the youth in this? We have done some studies on solar, wind, battery energy storage systems, hydro pumped storage systems, geothermal, green hydrogen, and we are yet to carry further studies of how can we support the distributed power systems that is more outside the grid, as well as how can industrialization be affected or affected using this power system, and how are we going to do the financing mechanism. Solar, which is from the studies the lowest hanging fruit. With the solar, the good news is if we decide to say for the continent, let's have solar only, you would need 200,000 square kilometers, which is the size of Uganda. If you would put solar panels just on top of Uganda, you will be able to power the whole Africa. The good news about power in Africa, you know that it's the continent where we have more than 12. We have 15 hours of sunshine on the continent when you compare from Somalia to Dakar. So when you have one grid and you are generating solar wherever you are and it goes into the grid, it shows that I can enjoy the solar from Dakar while I am here. While I'm down in South Africa. The other thing is solar has shown that it's going to be the least cost power. At the present moment, they are already talking about 2.5 US cents. It's a tariff which we should all target. And countries are competing to bring it down. So that many people think that when we use solar, it is going to be expensive. It's not. That's not true. It's going to be the other way around. When we go for solar, we are going to reduce our tariffs. Wind power. Interestingly, wind power is going to take the largest share in future. In as much as we don't see it, but it's there. All the coastal land can be wind powered. The highest wind power can come out of Somalia, if you don't know that. And if that be the case, why not invest in wind power? You can see the projects which are already earmarked by member states. These are not projects which we can think about when we are sitting in our offices. When you look at this project here, you see they are spread mainly the coastal countries. That's where you have more wind than the internal. And one exciting thing about the wind is the capex keeps on dropping. So as we go forward, we know that we started from there and we are now coming to the lower level. Battery energy storage. We all are used to using battery. This thing I'm using is using a battery. The phone is using a battery. We are talking about battery cars now. Where is the material coming from? The material for making batteries, most of it comes from Africa. And if most of it is coming from Africa, we know we buy batteries from China. Why not manufacture batteries in Africa? This is the challenge we have in Africa, that who can start this manufacturing? Of course, the old industries were not designed like that. And we see youth having an opportunity to think, how can you be a battery manufacturer? The other thing which we see in the batteries is the systems at the present moment, they are saying that if you put wind power, solar power onto the grid, existing grid, you will have instability. But when you put batteries into the system, it will reduce that instability. Here we need young people to go and do studies so that you can inform policymakers. Pumped hydro. Here is exciting. This is one of the oldest technologies. I can tell you, when you research on pumped hydro, you will see that this technology existed many years ago. In Africa, it was being practiced. You can see the map. The mapping which has been done where these projects exist. We found out there were 6,000, where is the figure? Might have forgotten. 61,000 projects are on the continent. But interestingly, where did we get this data from? Can someone guess? From students in Australia. Where are our students from Africa? Why are we not, just as young people, get the dynamics of mapping where do we have our resources? This data, we're getting it from a university in Australia, and they have already mapped 61,000 projects. We downgraded, we went down to look at a few of them. We looked at about 30 and looked at how can these 30, which are ready to be implemented, be financed. And this is where I encourage young generation, if you're a student, do your work for the future. If you are just someone who is an entrepreneur, look at a potential. I can see my moderator is becoming a bit uneasy. Right. Let me just come now to the debate I want to leave with you. Young generation, let's be frank. We believe renewables are an energizer of the youth. And as you know, Auda NEPAD is carrying out already an initiative known as Energize Africa, which is mainly to just uplift. You have to think about it. How can you put this Energize Africa into practice? You are the young generation. What can we do? We know that the Continental Power System Masterplan is going to have universal access to electricity or clean electricity. So we need to start from a bottom-up approach. This bottom-up approach is starting from the last village. This is my main concern. We start with big things, we don't look at. But young generation, you know, those who are in the rural areas, they can be starting to do something in the renewable energy. They don't have to wait for power to come from town or from the big schemes. That, by so doing, job creation. We have calculated the jobs which can be created. The highest job creator, when you look at the graphics which I will distribute, or I have distributed already, solar is the biggest job creator. Auda NEPAD has started a job creation toolkit which can calculate for you each and every technology, each and every project, how many jobs can be created. And this is a way you can approach the political decision makers to say, if we do this project, we know for sure we are going to get our jobs. Looking at the smart, or what we call the climate smart agribusiness. Irrigation, you can do it very easily with power. Agro-processing, and then the marketing. We cry, we have no jobs, but these are things which can be done by the youth when they are applying the technologies. Innovation. We are currently discussing the variable renewable energy, and we debate as technical people. But I think young people who are in universities, these are the researches they have to focus on. What is going to be the future of the renewables in our systems? then establishing a renewable energy market. Power pools are already starting. I know that the Southern African Power Pool wants to sell particularly renewable energy. In Europe, you know that there are people who say, I don't want to use coal. They buy only from those who have renewable. Africa is starting that business. So when that business comes, do we have the renewable to sell? So I come back to the young generation. Think about it. You can be manufacturing your solar, wind, hydropower, which you are generating in a rural setup to the power pool. And you can trade your electricity far away. Last but not least, we have a problem. We make things at the continental level, but how do we make the communities know? I see that you have a network. I was talking to Sena the day before yesterday. Your network is dynamic. Once you, with all these gadgets we have today, you can inform people anywhere about what is happening. And this is where we see potential. For the future, what we are planning now, we are going into what we call phase 3. And phase 3 means we have 2 pillars. One is long-term energy planning and capacity building. Who is supposed to be receiving the capacity building? The young generation. And we are also looking at preparation and implementation of the continental power systems projects. Who has got the projects are those people in the member states. So this is something which we are planning to do as from 2024 going forward to 2030 and onwards. My question is, young generation, what is your expectation when you see such things? Secondly, what is that we can do together? I leave these questions with you. I don't want you to answer me now, but think about it and let's get into dialogue. Thank you very much. If you want to contact us, contact Chris Penzana or Teach Simbini. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zana. And to support that project, we have youth, the Young Voluntary for the Environment, that made some caravan. And we have Mrs. Luta. She will come and present about the caravan.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Luta Aurora Annette. I am the programs coordinator at Young Volunteers for the Environment based in Togo. We have 27 African national representations. And this time round, we organized a regional caravan around what Mr. Crispin just presented. I thought there would be a presentation. The caravan's objective was to mobilize young people, communities, and civil society organizations around calling for an just and equitable transition from use of fossil fuels to renewable energy alternatives. And as has been presented here by Mr. Crispin, it's quite evident that Africa has a very great potential for renewables. And we wanted, as young people, we wanted to call our leaders and the communities to attention. First of all, to ensure that they understand what it means to have a just and equitable transition, what it means for Africa's future if we continue in the same trajectory as our leaders are purporting to investing in fossil fuels, and what it means for communities as well. We also had the intention to showcase the kinds of projects that are ongoing in the communities. So a lot of young people are doing many innovative projects that we wanted to share. In the same breath, share experiences from different countries, what is happening, how are communities coping with climate change, and the kind of innovative technologies that they have been able to come up with and that they are promoting in terms of energy, promotion of sustainable energy. This time round, we've had the participation of around 17 countries who organized caravans in their countries at the national level. Afterwards, we had now a regional caravan that moved around Western African countries. I would have loved to show you images, but it seems like the presentation is not well, but we had really positive response from communities and some authorities as well who received us, and we managed to state our position very clearly as civil society organizations working in the promotion of renewable energy, including solar and wind. And it has really, we mobilized close to 300 organizations. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, okay, so these are the objectives, like what we intended to have by organizing the caravan. So I think I've already mentioned all of it. So here we have, the pictures are from across Africa. We just selected quite a few. Mali, who managed to meet their Minister for Environment and had a big mobilization across the country. In Togo, we also combined it with the promotion of agroecology as a solution to climate change. And yeah, we had Zimbabwe. The good thing is that we also had the opportunity to join other networks and organizations that are working, had the similar campaigns. So one of them was the global mobilization against fossil fuels, which was supported mainly by CAN International, the Climate Action Network, which also supported 8 countries and our national representations from 8 countries. We also joined the Power Up campaign. The Power Up was with Power Shift Africa initiative. 350.org initiative. And then, yes, and other organizations, other networks as well. So our demands are very clear, and I think it cuts across and supports also the study that has been done and presented earlier, that we want a face down on fossil production and use. We are calling for that. It's important and very essential for the development of Africa that we invest in renewable energy alternatives. Currently, we have not a very promising finance promise that has been put on the table for renewables. So we are calling on our leaders to really invest and make plans on renewables. We don't want false solutions or solutions that do not consider the communities, and the future of our generations to come. So we need to join together, collaborate, and see how we can ensure that we spread the news, especially the study that has been done. How can we use this study as leverage to talk to our leaders, to talk to our private associations, private companies, and partners, international and regional partners, to be able to support this, our campaign and what we are demanding for. So I will stop there and give the floor back to Stella. Thank you.
Thank you, Luta. So now we are about to see, to show you a video about the caravan that it was in Gabon. No.
Hundreds of African organizations have come together to form the African Climate Caravan. We have seen climate activists and communities mobilize and meet with government officials to push for solutions for the climate crisis in Africa. From Gabon, Togo, Chad, DRC, Zambia, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Senegal, Cameroon, Niger, Burkina Faso, and more. The caravans are demanding that climate justice not be put off to tomorrow. We must act together today. The caravans have mobilized communities and policymakers across countries, highlighting the harm climate change is causing to Africa and demanding more justice in climate finance. Follow the African Climate Caravan as we move towards COP27 in Egypt.
That was very good. So now, because of the time, we just call Mr. Karen from Benin. He will present a caravan in Benin.
Bon, je vais aller en français.
I'm going to speak French.
Thank you, Stella. Good afternoon, everybody. From my side in Benin, we have made the African Climate Caravan, focused on two topics. The first one was how to end or phase out from fossil fuels and promote renewable energy. And the second one is about agroecology or adaptation based on ecosystems. So that was the two main topics on what we made our caravan. And in Benin, we mobilized more than 200 young people in the town to make the caravan. In September, we started by our main place in Benin called Amazon Place, which is the most viewed one in Benin now. So we started from there and go to the ministry to give them the declaration of our caravan and told to them our demand. Our demand, Luther talked about it just right now, a rapid, just, and okay. Okay, so there is some key pictures from our caravan in Benin. So as I said, we started from this place, the Amazon Place in Benin, with those young people, with the key message we wanted to share with our authorities. So yeah, there is some key message, and you can see young people in the cities. So yes, for our caravan, we have made something special this year. It was a concert. We mobilized some young people who sing, and they have sing songs about renewable energy. So we make a small concert around this place, and there you can see people who are enjoying after the caravan. And after that, we build capacities of CSOs, of NGOs in Benin about renewable energy with a focus on good or innovative technologies like biodigester in Benin. So we build capacities on biodigester, on lobbying, on advocacy. And on 30th of November, we have made the last step of our caravan in Benin with this in partnership with a network, a Benin Society, Benin CSOs network on renewable energy, who help GVE Benin with other institutions in Benin. We make a caravan who has ended on at the National Renewable Energies Direction in Benin, where we give to the authorities our declaration. That is the last one activities we made in Benin. So thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Mr. Kara. After all this presentation, I want to ask Mr. Prince from Nigeria, what is his impression about all those presentations and also the caravan that we just worshipped? Yeah.
Translation stops here.
Assalamu alaikum. I think the caravan actually brought about unity of purpose of young people. And I was opportune to speak in one of the sections why we must end energy poverty in Africa. So it mobilized people across Africa using all traditional and local means to gather information. So it has been a worthwhile one that actually gave more young people a sense of value, a sense of creativity, and also begin to provide local solutions. And that inspired us on some of the things we do because I work with Connected Advocacy for Empowerment and Youth Development Initiative in Nigeria. It inspires us to develop what we call the local community climate education program to inspire young people to begin to think into building infrastructure. So right now, young people have the power, they have the energy, and they need to be supported with capacity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prince. So, as we are going to close, we want to hear from you the last word that you can share with us in 1 sentence, please. You have.
Okay, thank you. My last word is we need more mobilization from young people in Africa, more mobilization from CSOs and NGOs to phase out from fossil fuels and more promote renewable energy in our countries. We need development, but we need a how can I say it? A clean development, yeah. We need to promote clean energy in our countries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. For me, it is to call out our government to say there is resources. We have resources in Africa, and they need to act now to phase out fossil fuels and to invest in renewable energy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I want to emphasize again, thank you for organizing this demonstration. This is a demonstration of what the youth can do. I'm very excited because the Continental Power System Masterplan is not for anyone else other than the young generation, because 2040 I will be over 80 years and I will not be able to do what you are doing, but you are still energetic, and we have to energize the youth and energize Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much to attend these panels. Now we are going to take a picture and we leave. Thank you very much.
No, we don't.